La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. 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 Ahmadiyyat zindabad, 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 Ahmadiyyat.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم وعلى عبدك مسيح معود وعلى آل عبدك مسيح معود ما بعد. This lecture was prepared by Al-Hafiz Abdurraqib Sahib. I want to, on behalf of Sada Sahib, request all brothers for prayers for him. Actually, he left Jamia this morning en route Ojokoro for the purpose of this program. While on his way, he had a call that his wife was sick. So he had to change the route to his home, and he sent message that he might not be able to make it. Hence, the thing fell on me to present paper on his behalf. So if there is any error in the presentation, the error is definitely mine, because he has prepared the paper scholarly and intelligently. The topic, as I had been announced, is Islam's model for a peaceful election. Introduction. Islam is a system that takes care of every sphere of human existence without leaving anything out. Unlike other religions, Islam had a code of conduct affecting the moral, physical, emotional, and spiritual lives of its adherents. This code of conduct leads to an ultimate goal. This ultimate goal is peace, which is a direct meaning of Islam. Since Islam is synonymous to peace, it goes therefore without saying that it must have a perfect system of governance that will ensure the safety of the subjects and their properties, as well as guarantee a just society for both the leaders and the led. The main objective of this paper, therefore, is to examine the Islamic guidance for electing worthy leaders. Participation in a democratic process. It might not be out of place to seize this opportunity to briefly address a very important point bordering on election and democracy. Some self-acclaimed reformist scholars have continued to discourage Muslims from participating in elections conducted under a democratic process. To them, democracy is at variance with Islam, and as such, should be boycotted. The only evidence they seem to provide is the phrase وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ, which means, and who does not, and those who does not judge with what Allah has revealed, they are the disbelievers. This is in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5 of the Quran, verse 45. And so, to them, since democracy is not Sharia compliant, it should be discarded. That's their argument. It must be noted at this juncture that Islam has not prescribed a particular governmental system. Rather, it lays down certain guidelines and duties to be discharged by both the leaders and the followers. Any system that ensures equity and justice is Islamic and should be embraced by all. A logical reason as to why Islam has not sanctioned a specific governmental system is due to the universality of its message. People of different races and cultures are destined to embrace Islam, and this diversity may not likely make it possible for all to embrace democracy, autocracy, monarchy, etc. Being conscious of this diversity, Islam allows each nation to determine which form of government fits their ideals and idiosyncrasies, as long as justice and fairness are adopted. The four basic needs of life are universal and achievable by all governments. This is why Allah has proclaimed to Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wasalam that inna laka alla taju'a fiha wa la ta'ra wa innaka la tasma fiha wa la tadha. Meaning, it is provided for thee that thou will not hunger therein, nor will thou be naked, and that thou will not thirst therein, nor will thou be exposed to the sun. This is Surah Taha, chapter 20, verses 119 and 120. A divine call. One of the responsibilities of Muslims in a given society is to ensure that the mantle of leadership is given to those worthy of handling it. Allah, the Exalted, says, Inna Allah ya'muru an tu'addu al-amana ila ahliha wa idha hakamtum bayna an-nas an taqumu bil adli. Inna Allah ni'ma ya'izukum bi. Inna Allah kana sami'an basira. Meaning, verily, Allah commands you to make over the trust to those entitled to them, and that when you judge between men, you judge with justice, and surely excellent is that with which Allah admonishes you. Allah is all hearing and all seeing. Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 59. This verse embodies everything we need to know and do with respect to election. The first point is the consciousness of the divine interest in establishing a working government on earth. This point is codified in the words, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli. Verily, Allah has commanded you. The second point is to confer positions of authority on those capable of discharging the responsibilities as stated in the word, and to adu li'amanat, to make over the trust to those entitled to them. A peaceful and working government cannot be formed if elections are not based on merits but on mere sentiments. While commenting on the above verse, Ashrat Khalifat Masih Sani states, and I quote, the verse also draws the attention of the Muslim people to their heavy responsibility of the very important matter of electing their chief or Khalifa. They are warned that if in electing a Khalifa or a chief, the allowed consideration of personal liking or nepotism to prevail against the interest of the state or the community or those of religion and displayed lack of consciousness, they will be called to account like one false to his trust. The verse also condemns dynastic or hereditary rule and institutes instead a representative form of government. The Khalifa or the ruler is to be elected, and in electing him, the people are bidden to vote for one best fitted for the office. The Khalifa or the ruler in his turn is bidden to be fair and just in his administration, fair to individuals, fair to communities, and fair to the state as a whole. This is contained in the 5-volume commentary of the Second Khalifa, page 663. The next point is obedience to constituted authority. A peaceful society is only achieved when all parties come together for its attainment. Leaders should embrace fairness, while the followers obey those in authority. Immediately after commanding the believers to elect worthy leaders as quoted above, Allah follows it up with the following. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ati'u Allaha wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. Meaning, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger and those in authority among you. Surah An-Nisa, that's Quran chapter 4, verse 60. While explaining this verse, Al-Hadith Sani also states, and I quote, the word obey, which has been repeated before the words Allah and messenger, has been omitted before the words those who are in authority, in order to point out that obedience to authority properly constituted by law is in reality obedience to God and his messenger. There has been some news flying around that some groups have decided to boycott the forthcoming general elections, claiming to having been marginalized by the government. This action is not only dangerous to the sovereignty of the country, but also against the Sharia of Islam. Disobeying the authority under whatever guise is strongly frowned at in Islam. Salamat bin Yazid al-Ju'afi inquired from the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, and I quote, O Prophet of Allah, if we were to have leaders who demand for their rights from us and deny us our rights, what should we do? He replied, that's the Holy Prophet replied, listen and obey, for they have their burden and you have you also have yours. Sharh Sunnah, that's volume 5, page 305. Also, Abdullah bin Mas'ud reported that Holy Prophet Muhammad said, you will witness after me selfish leaders and other things you detest. Give them their rights and ask Allah of your own right. This is contained in Sahib Bukhari, hadith number 7052. In fact, the alleged corruption of our leaders should afford us the opportunity of reflecting on our moral standards. For leaders are but a reflection of the entire society. If the subjects are pious, the leaders are also pious and vice versa. Allah the Almighty states, وَكَذَلِكَ نُوَلِّي بَعْضَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَعْضًا بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Meaning, and in like manner do we set some of the wrongdoers over the others because of what they earn. This is in Surah Al-An'am, chapter 6 of the Holy Quran, verse 130. Hazrat Muslim Ma'ud explains this verse thus, and I quote, the verse signifies that both the poor and the great are wrongdoers, and it is on account of their sins that the poor become tools in the hands of the great. This also is a part of the commentary of the 5-volume Quran commentary, page 927. The question now is, who actually deserves our vote? It has been stated earlier that according to Quran chapter 4, verse 59, elections should be based on merits and not mere sentiments if we want to achieve a peaceful society. The Holy Quran has furnished us with those qualities to look out for in our leaders. the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was commanded to cite his antecedents as a proof of his truth in his claim to prophethood. In like manner, every aspirant to a political office should be able to show his antecedents, just like the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam declared among the Quraysh, فَقَدْ لَبِثْتُ فِيكُمْ أُمُرًا مِنْ قَبْلُ. I have lived a lifetime among you before. This is in Surah Yunus, chapter 10 of the Holy Quran, verse 17. In making reference to antecedents, the competence of the aspirants is uncovered. Another thing we must ensure is the eschewing all elements of tribalism. Tribalism has been a hindrance to human progress since time immemorial. The more reason it was condemned by Islam in the strongest of terms. Deriding other tribes or mocking at a group of people is anti-Islam, as it will ultimately lead to chaos, which is anonymous to Islam. My vote should not be determined by which tribe someone has come from. That the word amana, trust, is used by Allah to connote election is enough as a motivation to ensure that our sense of judgment of who deserves our votes aligns with the dictates of Islam. Jubair bin Mut'im reported that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu states, "Laysa minna man da'a ila asabiyya, wa laysa minna man qatala ala asabiyya, wa laysa minna man mata ala asabiyya." Meaning, such a person, such a one is not of us who calls towards tribalism. Such a one is not of us who fights for tribalism. Such a one is not of us who dies on tribalism. This is contained in Sahib Buhari. Now, roles of Ahmadis. The primary role of every Ahmadi after having understood the truth is to enjoin virtues and forbid evils. We must ensure that we sensitize people in our circles on the need to embrace peace and discharge our duties towards the forthcoming general elections. It is only by doing this that we can make ourselves worthy of divine grace that accompanies such noble acts and save ourselves from destruction, which is a direct consequence of neglecting one's duties. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu was reported to have said, and I quote, "You shall certainly enjoy goodness and forbid evil, or Allah will appoint upon you the worst among you, who will in turn torment you with painful punishments. Then will the good among you pray, and Allah will not answer them." This is contained in a book, Al-Amru bil Maruf wa Nahi Anil Munkar by Ibn Abi Dunya, page 49. From the above hadith, it shows that prayer only works after discharging one's duties of enjoining virtues and forbidding evils. All acts of violence and injustice like snatching of ballot boxes, election rigging, vote buying, etc. should be condemned. Youths in particular should be advised against political thuggery and hooliganism. Conclusion. Since Allah the Almighty reserves the knowledge of the unseen, it becomes imperative that our affairs be directed to Him for guidance. Our sense of judgment of who is good to lead us can never be perfect. The more reason we should fall at the defined threshold, seeking His mercy and grace for ourselves and our country. It will not be out of place to individually perform istihara prayers in this regard. Allahumma walli umurana hiyarana wa tawalli umurana shirarana. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.